Friday, October 30th. Tonight on The National, a premier resigns. PEI's Joe Giz says it's time to move on. The campaign winds up with new questions about Bush and Iran-Contra. And on The Journal, the final edition. After almost 11 years and thousands of interviews, one that's truly out of this world. The National with Knowlton Nash.
Good evening. Joe Giz says he's looking for a new job. He announced today he's stepping down as Premier of Prince Edward Island. Giz says he'll stay on until a new leader is chosen, probably in January. He spent more than a decade in politics in Prince Edward Island, but as George Bush and Bill Clinton went from state to state taking their messages to the masses. Increasingly, those messages are focusing on the personal as much as the political. Character issues are coming to the fore in the final days. And while Bill Clinton has been defending his character for much of the campaign, today President Bush faced new questions about his own character, questions he thought he put to rest years ago. The CBC's Terry Malewski reports from Washington.
The pattern of deceit is wrong for America.
He was talking about Bill Clinton, but just as George Bush began his final offensive on Clinton's honesty, his own record backfired. Caspar Weinberger, Defense Secretary under Ronald Reagan, was indicted again in the Iran-Contra scandal on the evidence of his own notes, which also happened to place then Vice President Bush at the heart of the affair. The Democrats rushed to the cameras.
Secretary Weinberger's notes clearly show that President Bush has not been telling the truth when he says he was out of the loop. It demonstrates that President Bush knew and approved of President Reagan's secret deal to swap arms for hostages.
We now have the evidence, the smoking gun memorandum, the clear proof that what George Bush has said about his role in creating one of the worst, most embarrassing catastrophes in American foreign policy is simply untrue.
But for many Americans, having their integrity questioned, and tonight, as they head into a final frantic 3 days of campaigning, the one who can least afford to be accused of lying is the one who made trust a
time when we hand over to the Journal. And tonight we're doing that for the very last time. For almost 11 years, the National and the Journal have shared this hour. Actually, somehow it seems like only yesterday that we moved the National from 11 to 10 p.m. and joined in the hour with Barbara and with all our Journal colleagues. But now all that changes on Monday with the debut of Prime Time News, a new look and at a new hour, 9 o'clock. Also on Monday, the National will move to Newsworld, 5 editions strong, beginning at 10 Eastern Time. For CBC News, I'm Knowlton Nash. I'll be back tomorrow with the National, and now, for the last time, our partner in this hour, the Journal.